Hi guys, this is Max here, hopefully with another great political video, and I just got back from school and thought about myself, hey, why don't I try out the political compass test, investigate it with you, and we'll find out where I fit in on the political spectrum. Just as always, likes, comments, and subscriptions are greatly appreciated. If you have taken the test yourself, please let me know where you fit in on the political compass. And other than that, I'd say let's get straight to it, shall we? Now, if economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Well, I'd agree. I think what you see sometimes where corporations produce in third world countries with inhumane working conditions and then they sell it in America, for example, thereby taking away jobs from hardworking Americans and also just for their own benefit. No, that's not okay. I'd always support my country whether it's right or wrong. Well, I would not always support what my government does, but in general, you should hold on to your nation because, especially the United States of America, is a country that cares about its citizens and that you should at least feel some sort of loyalty to. But on the other hand, you have every right to question your government. That is obviously even your duty as a citizen. No one chooses their country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. Strongly disagree. One race has many superior qualities. Yeah, absolutely not. That is bullshit. And even if you think that one race should be better treated than the other, if you, for example, push for affirmative action, all races are still equal. So there is no difference between them. The enemy of my enemy is my friend in general, but not always. But you can cooperate very often, that's true. Mm, Military action that defines international law is sometimes justified. I would agree. Well, actually, I'd rather put disagree for the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Especially since we now saw with the Afghanistan withdrawal that America used to be aiding a specific group within the Mujahideen that later on ended up becoming the Taliban. So the enemy of your enemy is not always your friend. There's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Yep, absolutely, I'd agree. I could even say strongly agree. It's not very dangerous, but it is definitely there. I mean, the media is totally biased. You can't deny that, even if you agree with them. Now, this is having some issues to load. There we got it. That's page number 2. People are ultimately more divided by class rather than by nationality. I disagree. It really depends very much on on the place where you were born in regards to how much money you'll make later on. Controlling inflation is absolutely more important because if inflation goes up, people lose their savings, wages go down, and everybody suffers. Well, when unemployment goes up, that's basically just one economic factor that's not working. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. Agree. From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. Well, yeah, that's basically a communist question, so I'll not even go for it. The freer the market, the freer the people. Yeah, but the freer the people is not always correct. I mean, absolute freedom sounds nice, but if we had absolute freedom, everybody would be able to commit a murder at any time. And yeah, the freer the market, the freer the people are, but complete and total freedom is not always something good. It's a sad reflection on our society that sometime something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled branded consumer product. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't sign up to that statement. Land shouldn't be bought to be all and sold. Strongly disagree. It's regrettable that many personal fortune years are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to society. Well, I disagree. Everybody has the right to strive for climbing up the social ladder, for pursuing their American dream, as I believe it to be. But it is regrettable that some people have billions of dollars while some others can't even afford basic necessities. That shouldn't be the case. People should be provided for at the bottom of the social ladder. Protectionism protectionism in trade is sometimes necessary. Agreed. You have to look at the Rust Belt in the United States. These people are really not doing well. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver profits to its shareholders. Well, yeah, that's basically it. I mean, what else is a corporation designed to do? That's their only social responsibility, but of course they are bound by law to pay a certain amount of tax in order to provide for people who do not have that much money. The rich are too highly taxed. Well, I wouldn't say that. I don't really think that you have to cut taxes for the rich specifically. I mean, that's a group who could live the most with paying the taxes that they're paying right now. I'd rather lower taxes for the middle class. I'd also lower it for corporations because they hire people, they spur the economy. That's when trickle down economics actually works, if it targets corporations rather than wealthier individuals. Because a rich person that gets a tax cut won't say, whoa, now we got so much more money. We can finally afford our dryer. No, 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 no. That's not how it works. So, in general, I think the rich, they do pay their fair share of taxes. I don't want to drastically increase it, especially not right now. After the post pandemic recession, we could really risk bringing the economy to its knees if we rise taxes right now. So, that's a bad idea. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Agree. Everybody should have the access to basic medical care, but everybody who's like willing to invest into new forms of research for medical breakthroughs, they should be able to receive more care. Yeah, I believe government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. For example, if they tell you that they have a product and when you show up at their place and they don't even have it, that shouldn't be okay. Yeah, okay. A genuinely free market requires anti monopolistic regulations. Absolutely. Man, this test has lots of questions. Maybe I'll have to divide this video into two parts, and we'll cover 3 pages now, and the other 3 pages I'll cover a different time. Maybe later this day, probably. Abortion when the woman's life is not threatened should always be illegal. Uh, yeah, basically, because I mean, the mother can live with the fact that she's giving birth to somebody, but the child can't live when it's dead. So, all authority should be questioned. Yeah, actually, yeah. Generally, you should always be very critical of people who are commanding you to do what you don't believe to be right. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Well, sort of. A punishment should be reflective of what you did, but you don't have to go back to a medieval form of punishment where people had to suffer for crimes that were not even that. You don't want to go back to a medieval period where people who broke into somebody's house had, for example, their privacy violated as well. So, not like that, okay? If you broke into somebody's house, you go to jail, but nobody will get into your house. You still have rights. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. Yeah, basically, yeah, that's true. Schools should not make classroom attendance mandatory compulsory. Strongly agree. Especially during COVID, it was shown how much technological innovation such as Zoom can bring to the world stage, to the educational stage. All people have their rights, but it's better for all of us that different sorts of people keep to their own kind. I disagree, actually. I mean, or strongly disagree. I mean, what exactly does that mean? I do think actually that people should interchange and mix, but on the other hand, there are some people who just don't want to be together, so you could say it that way, yeah. Because, for example, I have a hard time believing that Palestinians and Israelis would want to live in the same country, so that's the reason why I'll put disagree. Good parents sometimes have to spank their children. Absolutely not. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. Absolutely, yeah. Possessing marijuana should not be a criminal offense. Yep. The prime function of a schooling should be equipped to the future generation to find jobs. Yeah, mostly. That's what it's supposed to do, but it also should at least somewhat focus on letting the people have some fun there. And in regards to marijuana, I believe the amount of resources that we wasted on trying to prevent people from smoking it, not only did we waste those resources, but also it didn't work, so let's legalize it. Legalize it! The most important thing for children is to learn and accept discipline. I disagree. You do need some discipline, especially self discipline, but that shouldn't be the main focus of being raised. There are no savage and civilized peoples, there are only different cultures. Not quite, because there are civilized and savage people. You do have to be serious about the fact that just some people have over the course of the millennials, have built up a better infrastructure, a better government than others. That's just a fact. Those who are able to work but refuse to do so should not expect society's support. I'd agree. I'd agree. I mean, if you can work but don't want to, then you should not be given some large amounts of help. But if you're like physically insane or something, then that's obviously an exception. When you're troubled, it's better to not think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. Well, you should always be worried about what's going wrong, and you should try to go against that, but it you also should not make yourself crazy. Don't let the sound of your own voice drive you crazy. As the Eagles say, first generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country. Strongly disagree. That's bad. That's not correct. I know so many people who were very well integrated into the United States and into other countries as well. What's good for the most successful corporation is ultimately good for most of us. Not necessarily, but again, if the corporations that hire lots of people do well, lots of money trickles down, so it is kind of true, but not really. And no broadcasting institutions, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Maybe a state-sponsored TV show wouldn't be too bad. That might be a bit more neutral. It could destroy the free market competition, though, so I'm gonna put agree. Because if you have a state or government funded TV station, that one does not have to make profits while others do. So let's just keep it like that for now. Okay, so these were the first 3 pages. I hope you loved and enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comment section down below if you did. And I really happily look forward to seeing you again. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe. As of right now, have a good time, and see you next time.